Okay, it's been a while, but let's have a look at what's going on in the world's weather. The first thing, here we're looking at the GFS global forecast for 10 days out, and it starts there and then it's going forward through the days. So you basically got to ignore the second half of this loop, which is kind of hard to do, but anyway, we've got this tropical storm which is over Thailand currently, and that's heading off. It looks like it's going to give a lot of heavy rain for Myanmar in a few days from now. Okay, what else have we got here? Well, I am currently located here, and we've just had a lot of snow today. And all of these wisps of precipitation, that's what this is showing as precipitation. That's all snowfall for Hokkaido at the moment. There is it's pretty much all snow, and it comes in lines, and sometimes it lines up and sometimes it doesn't, and today it lined up into the bay and brought us a lot of snow. So that's actually a good place to get started, which is now I'm zooming into Hokkaido here, and I'm actually currently located here in Sapporo, and today you can see the clouds over the Sea of Japan building and then flowing down, and this brought us quite a bit of snow, about 10 centimeters in Sapporo. And actually usually you can see it lines up in bands, and at the moment there's a general direction like this, but usually actually it's more of a west/west-northwest direction, and in that case Sapporo doesn't get snow, it actually snows to the north up here, just north of the city. But anyway, today, because it had this direction, it was flowing more into the bay and sort of funneling in. And I think actually I can put in a little bit of video of that, so let's put some of that. Here we go. This is actually from this morning, when we had a pretty heavy snowfall event, although it didn't really accumulate very much. It snowed for most of the day, but it wasn't, after this, it wasn't super heavy. But then in the evening it looked a bit more like this, and this was also very heavy snow actually, and it accumulated a number of centimeters. I think in total we got about 10, but let me check and let's see how much actually did fall during the day. By the way, if you ever want to check the snow in Japan, you go to the JMA website. This is the English version, although there's more information on the Japanese version. You can translate it with Google Translate. But anyway, I'm going to stick with the English version here, and you just have to click a few times and then you'll get into the observations. And so this is for Sapporo, and you see at the start of the day the snow depth was 26, and by the end it was 35, so 9 centimeters of snow. It's not a huge amount, but actually you'll see it go up and down as the snow is sort of blown and redistributed and compacted. So there was probably over 10 centimeters actually. So returning to the global outlook, and I think I'll have a little look at the system that is heading into Myanmar. I have forgotten the name, but that will come back later. And so there's also a system developing late in the forecast. I'm going to ignore that because it's probably too uncertain. Elsewhere, looks like a little something in Queensland, but not a huge amount of tropical activity in general. So I think I'll have a little look at the US and this system and then probably leave it at that. Okay, so the name is Pabuk of the system, and actually I should probably check the news to see what has happened as this has passed over southern Thailand. But for the moment, let's take a look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center forecast. That is not it. So I'm going to have to go back. And Pabuk, here we go. So this is Pabuk, and Pabuk is now in the Andaman Sea and heading off and going to cross the Andaman Islands, and looks like it's dissipating. But still, it is heading into Myanmar, where it'll no doubt bring a lot of heavy rain. The system that I accidentally brought up is this one, Tropical Depression 1, and it is forecast to become a tropical storm. And the reason why I'm going back to this is because it's actually very, very close to the equator. You can see that it was, I guess, a tropical depression almost at the equator, and then it headed off and it's forecast to become a tropical storm at around 7 north. So that's actually unusually close to the equator. So an interesting system, and it looks like it's going to bring heavy rain and some winds to a number of atolls, including Kwajalein there. So that's an interesting one. The system that was looking like it was heading towards Queensland is this one, which is Penny. And so this is a tropical storm, but it's actually forecast to gradually edge towards Queensland, North Queensland, but currently it is forecast to weaken before landfall, if it makes landfall at all. So this is one to keep an eye on. Penny. Right. Well, so much for my statement about there not being much tropical activity. There is a number of tropical systems, although they're not hurricane strength. They're all forecast to be tropical storms. But this is another one, Moana, and that is looking like it's heading into Fiji? Tahiti? What is that? I'll have to check. Oh, gotta keep an eye on my geographical knowledge. That is Fiji, and so it is heading in towards Fiji. So this system may be the one that has potential for some impact on Fiji, heavy rains and strong winds. So the landfall time is on the 6th of January at 6Z. That's when it's approaching. Landfall would be probably around 12 UTC time. So if you're in Fiji, you'll have to do the calculation on when that actually is. I'm sure there's plenty of warnings going on there, and you can refer to the Fiji Meteorological Service, which will have plenty of advice on this. In fact, let's take a look at it. So here is the Fiji Meteorological Service, and they have their track. So Moana was a Category 2 system in their definition, which is not the same as a Category 2 hurricane. This was a tropical cyclone categories. It's different. So anyway, it'll be a Category 1 tropical storm strength system when it passes over Fiji, and then heading off further to the north. So here are those two systems. We've got Penny over here closer to Australia, and then Moana seems like is a large and disorganized system, but likely to bring heavy rain to Fiji. So that is the action in the southwest Pacific. So I said I'd have a quick look at the US, and it's interesting to see that they've got a big notice up at the top talking about the government shutdown and how that's affecting the information on the site. But there, and actually on other sites, there are, to do with weather and climate, there are also notices and setbacks occurring because of this shutdown. So anyway, let's take a look at what they've got going on. Firelooks, mezcal discussions, watches, products. Not really too much going on. So, alright, let's leave. So just a very quick overview there. And so we've got Pabuk off there, and what's it called? Forgotten. Pam? Sorry, I was getting confused because they're both P systems. So you've got Pabuk and Penny and Moana over here. So Moana, Fiji, Pam, blah de blah, heading towards Queensland, maybe weakening. Pabuk, Andamans, then round towards Myanmar, bringing heavy rain, but also weakening. So currently none of these are forecast to become hurricane strength, but still heavy rain is dangerous, and so we shall see what is going to pan out with all this. And that's all I'm going to have to do for this evening. This was just a quick test video, so keep it real. Later.